Laid Plans is a 2022 horror anthology that contains 3 short films. There is no wraparound story, and the idea being that all of these movies are kind of vacation themed in some way. So it is a very low budget affair. We'll go through these 3 stories in a little bit of detail, and I'll tell you what I think. So the first one is kind of a creature feature. We have a dysfunctional family going to a sort of guided tour within this kind of cave system. The adult son is a closeted gay man, and his kind of parents are unknowing, but they might suspect, and they're a little hostile towards him. So during this kind of cave storm, there's a kind of a bunch of other kind of people as well. We can hear some sort of strange goings on, and we learn that there are these catfish that are living in this kind of water area, and there may well be a monster catfish. So let's talk about it. So this one is, I suppose, the most overt in regards to VFX. We have a giant kind of monster kind of catfish, and it's done in a practical manner. So this is by far and away the most ambitious. One of the things I will say is it's all shot in this kind of real cave system that I have to say looks pretty impressive. I gotta say I might recognise it though. I think maybe one of the Playing with Dolls movies might have shot in the same cave system. But anyway, it's impressive regardless. And yeah, it's a practically realised monster that is kind of made to scale. And yeah, it's kind of a little rubbery, but yeah, it's kind of quite fun, and we get a little bit of kind of gore in this movie. And I actually feel this story actually has an arc. I think this is probably the best out of the 3 movies, because we do have, you know, our characters do go on an arc, and you know, it's more of a complete story, and as I say, maybe the most overt in regards to sort of VFX. What doesn't work, as I've said, the kind of catfish monster, it's a practically realised creature, but it's maybe shot in a way that maybe makes it look a little kind of rubbery and things like that. I think they could have done more with the cinematography here to kind of make it look a little bit more menacing than it ended up kind of coming across. I think there are just some kind of mishaps here. We have like this woman who ends up kind of getting killed by it, and then no one sort of really mentions it again. You know, she's not part of the main cast, and as such is sort of forgotten about, which really is a little silly considering she's like, you know, the person that gets killed within this sort of movie. So, you know, it's on the cheaper side. The acting is maybe a little bit mixed, not necessarily bad, but yeah, at least it's a whole story, although it's very, very basic. The second one, I think, is probably my second pick out the ones I liked, and this involves these 2 friends that are going on a kind of a road trip together. One of the friends becomes suspicious of a RV that they're kind of seeing, where this girl seems to maybe kind of asking for help. So he decides to go and investigate, and it turns out he gets more than he bargains for. This one has a kind of a science fiction sort of twist to it. There's some fairly kind of fun VFX. It's not quite as overt as the first movie, but nonetheless, I think there are a couple of decent sort of VFX shots here, and it's a fun idea, and it has a little bit of a twist in it, which I kind of quite liked. And you know, you know, I think you can get that there's something going on, but maybe not exactly. But yeah, it's kind of quite fun. Again, it's a relatively kind of simple sort of story. There's not a lot to this. There is a lot of time with these 2 guys that are sort of our friends, but the other guy, I didn't really feel like he had anything to do, to be honest. So this movie almost feels like the actual story elements here could have been expanded upon, and maybe less scenes with this other guy who really has no impact on the actual story itself. The third one to me is by far and away the weakest, and you know, it's kind of a Sixth Sense story, let me just say, and it's very obvious right from the get-go that that's sort of what's going on. And we have this couple on a vacation, and the husband is filming things with a kind of a video camera. I think it's set in the mid-90s, and he suspects that there's someone breaking into their motel room and videotaping them and things like this. And as I said, I won't spell it out for you, but it's kind of a Sixth Sense style twist to this one. This one, to me, you don't really well, I mean, it's not obvious what's going on in a way in regards to the actual story. The actual Sixth Sense element is very obvious. We have this family, and you know, we have the kind of the husband, the wife, and this son, and the wife never seems to like address the child. Never seems to acknowledge it, and thinking, okay, you know, I know what's going on here. But in regard to that bit was obvious, and that's meant to be the twist. But what is actually happening on screen and what the movie is meant to be telling us, it just doesn't take you for along for the ride, because you really don't know what it is you're supposed to be watching. What's actually the point? It just looks like this guy is spaced out, and he's kind of looking at a video camera, and there's another guy in there. It's very poorly put together in regards to taking you as the viewer along for the kind of the narrative. I don't think it's necessarily badly acted or anything like that, and but it's the kind of like the reveal is obvious right from the beginning of the movie, but the actual narrative flow of the film is just muddled. So the thing they're trying to hide is obvious, and the actual kind of thing that should be obvious is kind of hidden. So this one didn't work for me at all. Overall, it's a somewhat forgettable anthology movie. It's kind of short in length, so it doesn't outstay its welcome. The first two I think are worth watching, but they're kind of nothing spectacular at the same time. The last one I thought was pretty weak. I'll give this one a 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.